You're walking somewhere, not thinking about anything in particular, and then you catch a smell just for a second. And before you can even name what it is, you're somewhere else. You're 8 years old. You're in a specific house, a specific summer, a specific year of your life you haven't thought about in ages. It's not like remembering. It's more like being yanked backward through time for a half a second and dropped right into a moment you thought was gone. And then it fades, and you're back on the sidewalk, a little stunned, going, what was that? And the wild part is how specific it is. It doesn't just feel like the past in general. It feels like one exact time, a certain year, a certain age, like that smell has a date stamped on it. And no other sense does this the same way. A song can remind you of something. Sure, a photo can. But smell doesn't remind you. Smell teleports you. It's a completely different feeling, way more intense, way more emotional, and way more precise. So why? Why does smell of all things have this insane power to drop you into a specific moment of your life? There's an actual answer, and it's honestly kind of beautiful once you understand it. So here's the thing about how your brain is wired, and this is the key to the whole mystery. Every sense you have, sight, sound, touch, taste, all of them, goes through a kind of central relay station in your brain first. Think of it like a mail sorting facility. Information comes in from your eyes or your ears, it goes to this sorting station, and the station routes it off to wherever it needs to be processed. Everything gets filtered and sorted through this hub before it reaches the deeper parts of your brain. Every sense works this way, except one: smell. Smell skips the whole thing. Smell is the only sense that doesn't go through that central relay station. When you smell something, that signal takes a shortcut, a direct back road, straight into two of the deepest, most primal parts of your brain. And which two parts does it wire directly into? The part that handles memory and the part that handles emotion. Smell has a direct, unfiltered, no stops line straight into your memory center and your emotion center at the same time. Nothing else in your whole sensory system is plugged in like that. Sight, sound, they have to take the long way around. Smell has a secret door right into the core of you. So that's why a smell doesn't feel like a normal memory. A normal memory, triggered by a photo or a word, has been routed and processed and filtered, so it feels like what it is, a memory, something you're looking back at from a distance. But a smell bypasses all of that and hits your memory and your emotions directly and simultaneously, with no filter in between. So instead of looking back at the past, you feel like you're in it. You don't recall the moment, you relive it, emotion and all, for a split second before your conscious brain even catches up to tell you what you're smelling. That's why it feels like teleporting instead of remembering. It's skipping the part of your brain that would normally keep the past at a safe distance. There's a famous name for this, by the way. Writers and scientists sometimes call it the Proust effect, after this famous scene in a novel where a guy tastes a little cake dipped in tea and it unlocks this flood of vivid childhood memory. People had noticed forever that smell and taste do this thing, and it turns out it's not just poetic, it's literally built into your wiring. That direct line is real. Okay, but that explains why smell is powerful. It doesn't fully explain the specific year thing yet. Why does a smell feel locked to one exact time instead of just being a general nice feeling? And this part is the coolest part. So think about how a smell gets attached to a memory in the first place. You encounter some smell for the first time during a specific period of your life. Maybe it's a certain sunscreen, a certain candy, the inside of a certain building, a specific laundry detergent your family used that one year. And in that moment, your brain bonds that smell to that whole context. The time, the place, the feeling, all of it gets tied together and locked to that scent. That smell becomes a key, and the memory of that period becomes the room it unlocks. Now here's the crucial part. If it's a smell you encounter constantly all the time, every year, then it gets bonded to 1,000 different moments, and it gets diluted. It doesn't point to any one time because it's tied to all of them. But if it's a smell from one specific period, and then you basically stop encountering it, maybe that detergent got discontinued, maybe that candy is rare now, maybe you moved away from that building, then something amazing happens. That smell never gets overwritten. It never gets rebonded to new moments. It stays perfectly preserved, sealed, locked to that one original time, like a photograph that never got exposed to light again. So when you finally smell it years later, out of nowhere, it points to one exact moment because that's the only moment it was ever attached to. It's a time capsule and the smell is the only key. That's why the smells that hit hardest are usually the ones you haven't smelled in forever. It's not the everyday smells. It's the rare ones, the ones from a specific chapter that closed, because those are the ones that stayed pure, the ones that never got diluted by the years in between. And there's one more layer that makes this even more powerful, which is that a huge number of these smell memories come from childhood specifically. And there's a reason for that too. When you're a kid, you're smelling a ton of things for the very first time. Everything's new. And first time smells make the strongest bonds because there's nothing else competing for them yet. So your childhood is basically when you're recording the master copies of all these scent memories, fresh, powerful, unrepeated. Which is why so often the smell throws you all the way back to being little. Those were the originals. Everything after was just a copy. So when you put it all together, you get this incredible thing. You've got smells from your childhood, recorded fresh and strong, sealed away and never overwritten, sitting there for decades, wired through a secret direct line into the exact center of your memory and your emotions. And then one random day, you catch that smell again and the whole thing fires at once. And for half a second, you are genuinely back there. Sorry, not genuinely, you are truly back there. It's the closest thing to actual time travel that your brain can do. And here's what I find kind of moving about all this. You can't control it. That's the part that gets me. You can't decide to smell your way back to a specific year. You can't summon it. These memories don't come when you call them. They ambush you. They show up uninvited, triggered by some smell you weren't expecting. And they hand you a moment of your own past that you couldn't have accessed any other way. There are whole periods of your life, feelings, rooms, days that you have no conscious access to anymore, that you literally cannot remember on purpose no matter how hard you try. And a smell can open them instantly without warning and let you stand in them for a heartbeat before shutting the door again. So those little moments when a smell stops you dead on the sidewalk and floods you with a year you'd forgotten, those aren't random glitches. They're your brain handing you a gift you didn't ask for and can't request. A brief unearned visit back to a version of your life you thought was gone. Little doorways that only open by accident. So next time it happens to you, when some smell catches you off guard and throws you backward through your whole life for a second, don't just shake it off and keep walking. Stop for a beat. Let it happen, because you'll never be able to summon that one on command, and you don't know when or if that particular door will ever open again. It came to visit you. The least you can do is stay a second and say hi.